All right, welcome to the first ever Doctors and Cars episode. I'm joined by Mike and Matty from the Mike and Matty YouTube channels or the Increator company YouTube channel. Two doctors who are not practicing clinical medicine. So today we're going to explore the different avenues for those who are physicians, MDs, DOs that are curious about other options beyond the traditional path. So I guess to start, can you guys tell me about your training background, where you went to med school, your specialty, etc.?
Yeah, so I went to med school in Virginia on the East Coast and then graduated into internal medicine, did residency at Huntington Hospital in Pasadena, California, and then worked for a few years during COVID.
I went to med school also on the East Coast in Virginia. I applied for psychiatry residency. I matched, and then I quit before I started.
So matched in March, and then before July 1st, you're like, peace. I know you guys.
I think it was like 2 weeks after I matched. I was like, oh crap, this is bad news. This is bad news. You know what? Okay, the thing I'll say is this: usually when people match into a residency program anywhere, it's like a sigh of relief. I assume, right? Because you've worked all these years to get there, and then I felt the exact opposite. I felt like, oh shit, this is wrong. Like I felt dread and scared. I'm like, oh man, I think I made a mistake. And
that is a very honest indicator.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be fair, some people go on. Some schools make you go on stage and open your envelope.
I wasn't even at school during match day. That's how I knew either. I was literally in that dirty dungeon up there. And all my friends, because East Coast, so med school for me is on the East Coast, and they're 3 hours ahead. And it was like 8 a.m. for them. And it was like 5 a.m. for me. All my friends would call me at 5 in the morning, like, "Oh, where'd you match?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm sleeping." I'm like, I didn't even check it yet. But
was not a priority.
It was not a priority, for better or for worse. It was not a priority.
Speaking of dirty dungeons, we're in. Thank you to Lexus. We're in a 2026 Lexus RX 450h Plus, which we will be dropping a review of this on the Jabal Cars channel too. But want to say thank you. And what do you guys think of this car so far?
It smells great. It's I was like, leather? It's a mommy whip, huh?
Mommy mobile.
It's a mommy whip.
Dude, I feel like I would not hate LA traffic as much if I was driving this car everywhere. Because at least it's quiet and calm.
Feels safe.
All right, so tell me, what is the day-to-day for you now that you're not practicing medicine, you're not seeing patients?
I think our day-to-day is pretty...
morning routine?
Yeah, I'll say this, our day-to-day has changed a lot. As entrepreneurs, you go through different phases of building your business. You start off being really busy doing everything. Okay, well actually, when we first started off, I will say this. Leaving medicine for entrepreneurship, medicine is like you wake up so early in the morning to go like, in the hospital at 5 a.m. and sometimes you leave at like 7, 8 p.m. If you're on call, you're staying there all night, you know? And so the first thing that happened to me, actually, I had so much more time. And I think like I was very unproductive for the first like month after graduating and finishing, because now I had no structure to my life at all. So I was waking up at like 11 o'clock in the afternoon. I was going to the gym, and then I got back, started working at like 2 in the afternoon.
Did you like, or just 11's like pretty impressive as a grown adult.
Oh, it was great. I loved it.
Like that's
for a bit.
That's some teenage energy.
I think I was like, when I was in med school, we were always building the business at the same time. So it was like I was full-time med student and full-time trying to build YouTube channel and business.
That's a grind.
So I literally had no time. And I was like, the back of my mind, I've always thought, oh man, if only I wasn't in the hospital, I could spend so much more time on business. And then when it happened, I didn't. I just lost all the structure, and then I feel like I was like very unproductive for like the first few months. And then I was like, okay, wait, now I need to add some accountability back. There needs to be more prioritization of time and stuff. And it took a while for us to really figure out for each other, like, how do you actually build that back into our workflow on a day-to-day basis?
Dude, you know what's interesting is I had something similar when I left residency. I was like, I need to rest, recover. I've been grinding 4 hours of sleep each night, working 7 days a week, the one day off you have from residency, on the business, etc. And actually doing essentially what I think everyone would assume you should, which is take some time off and just relax and be unstructured. I would wake up at 8 or 9 and go to the gym, and then in the afternoon I'd do a little bit of work, but like not too much. And I hated it. After 2 weeks, I'm like, what is going on? Why do I feel so useless and like rudderless? And then I created a schedule. The next day I followed my schedule. You're waking up and going to the gym early. You're doing a work block of admin and email and this and that. And like instantly that day I said, okay, this is what I need. I just need this structure, this routine. And paradoxically, adding that control made me feel like I had more freedom in terms of the decisions I could make and like my future path. I'm hearing some similarities there.
Oh, totally. Yeah. You think that you don't want structure and you want freedom, but then what you need is like structured freedom. You know? Or like, I don't know if that's the right way to say it. So that's what everyone says.
Equals freedom, basically, is how you say it.
Well, it's like the one thing you say in medicine all the time is like, man, I wish I had more freedom. I wish I had more time for myself and all these things. But then when you get that, it's like, wait, that's actually not what makes me more productive, you know?
Yeah, I think when we first quit, there was some, I guess it was like a lack of urgency is what we were missing, huh? Because pretty quickly we started paying for a coach, consultant. Like we were like, if we're gonna quit and do this thing full time, let's actually treat it like an actual career path. So we went out looking for like, how do we pay tuition to learn entrepreneurship or to learn content creation and do it the right way? Because we dropped so much money from med school. I mean, even despite dropping so much money from med school, we realized that med school is structured for that reason. And so you can accelerate your learning so much more. Why don't we just go and pay for a coach to help us with entrepreneurship? So that's exactly what we did. Up until now, I would say we've spent well over $100,000 just learning everything we needed to for content creation, entrepreneurship, and everything. But I think just putting that money down and treating it like an investment really gave us that urgency to like, let's get some shit done and not just lounge around all day.
Truly investing in your education. I think that's something that I'm very grateful my parents instilled in me, because I do the same thing. I've invested a lot in my education since, and now that I have more disposable income to invest, I can get one-on-one coaching from people that are very good at what they do, or join courses that are very valuable. Do you guys feel that when you were med students or college students, because you don't have disposable income, like it's a lot harder to do that, or you're more reluctant to, perhaps? I feel like if I did more of this earlier on, it would have actually made my life so much better. But I didn't have my priorities quite where they should be.
Oh, of course. Definitely. I feel like when I was young, I never had a lot of money. So the only thing that you could spend was time. And so I would spend, like, for example, like when I learned how to produce music, for example, I would just, remember that one, what's that one YouTuber who I watched? They always, Busy Works Beats. I just like binged YouTube channels to try to learn stuff on my own, like skills on my own. And it would work, but it would take months and months at a time, you know? And then eventually Mike started buying courses. We took a course and I learned this skill in like 2 weeks. And I'm like, holy shit, like why am I wasting so much time like trying to figure this stuff out on my own? Like how much faster can you go if you actually had some investment, like even a small investment? Like it doesn't have to be like thousands of dollars for a course. Even like buying books was something I never did. I was like one of those guys where I was like, I can find this for free if I just go down the black market.
And that's actually true. You can find a lot of this information for free, but what you're paying for is time.
Yeah.
You can learn the same thing in 1 year or 6 months, or you can learn it in 2 weeks. And then how much more valuable is that time now that you have that skill that compounds? Right. Like even for students, this is probably the easiest example to make. Because in business, obviously, like if you learn how to make more money, that's very obvious. If you learn how to make more, an extra $1,000 a month, mathematically assign the opportunity cost of not knowing that, right? For students, I think it's studying, because if you can study like a medical student, like we all learned how to study way better in med school versus in college. Yeah. And my first ever YouTube video was essentially saying, I wish I knew how to study like this in college, because my life would have been so much easier. I had good grades, but I would have done it in way less time. And then when you have the time, then you can spend it doing other things. And with better study strategies, you have better long-term memory consolidation. So then you can actually use that information on the MCAT in 2 years and not have forgotten and have to relearn everything you learned in bio or GenCat. Yeah. So education is key. What do you guys think about financial education? I feel like that's one thing that so many doctors wish that they had, but that we just don't get taught in college or in med school.
Which part of financial education?
I think like it is pretty broad. I think more personal finance and like how do you manage debt and student loans? How do you approach retirement versus investing in taxable and real estate and these different asset classes?
I think the education system in this country fails in every level to teach you that. from high school to college to med school. Like you never learn
I
that.
feel like they withhold it for a reason though, but go on.
Yeah, I feel like the government. Like, this is my hot take, but the government intentionally makes it difficult so that people just don't know and have to pay more money in the long run. I think it's just like there's no reason it should be that complicated, and it is.
I feel like if you know about it and you can take advantage of it, then you don't want to really be an employee. You don't want to work in the system anymore because you have a better understanding.
Because they want the factory worker mindset to just clock in, clock out, don't ask questions.
That's my opinion.
Be reliant.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
But to your point, like I remember like near the end of med school, some of my friends had no idea how much they owed, how much debt they were. It's like, oh yeah, you know, like took some loans. I just signed papers. I didn't even look at it. It's like
I'll worry about it later.
Yeah, worry about it later.
Pull out the max amount you can.
Exactly. There's like, I'm in med school. That's all that matters, right? And then they look at their bill. It's like $200,000, $250,000, $300,000. I saw $300,000 or more.
The thing is, like,
these loans.
med school's not even the most expensive. Dental schools are more expensive.
Dental
aren't they?
school, yeah.
And the average dental salary is actually quite a bit lower than the average physician salary.
Oh, really?
So then your repayment's even more suboptimal.
I feel like this may be an odd tangent, but our private dental offices, they could probably earn more than medical offices, though. Huh?
I think anytime, well, I'd say that if you go into a cash-based aesthetic,
I guess that's
plastic
what I meant.
surgery,
Yeah.
like
The ones I'm thinking about are like, like full denture replacements. They're like, oh, that's $15K, like out of pocket. I'm like, there's no medical. I guess there probably
plastic
is.
surgery,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
dermatology.
If you go to plastics, or
I
something.
think the key thing there is just like when you go into entrepreneurship, the sky's the limit because you can also then have a
structure
medical
the offers however you want to.
and you can also have a lot of doctors that work underneath you and that you actually own the bigger practice. And you know, that's a whole another, like, that's a long-term play that you have to have completed residency and you can start right after residency, but like you're not gonna start with a big practice that has 5-10 doctors working for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in terms of like personal finance, did you guys learn more or struggle with anything about like paying off loans? Or as an example, I only started reading up on this right before graduation because I thought, well, I'm going to earn a salary for the first time and I have some loans. I need to understand the math of this, the strategies here, the taxes, all these policies, so that I can go in eyes wide open. And a lot of med students and residents that I've spoken with recently, they're interested in two things. It's like, number one, how can I start a side hustle? But then number two, how can I understand finances more so that I can get myself out of this hole and into a better, solid foundation before I'm an attending. Like, I want to make as much progress as I can, even during residency.
Yeah. I think Mike is better suited to answer that question because he was the one that really pushed for let's make money out of medicine than I was. Definitely more so.
Yeah, I was like, even during residency, I was thinking, how do I leverage this MD to make more money than just through clinical practice? Because you can use content, social media, you can build a personal brand. I was seeing remember that I'm sure a lot of doctors read that book,
The White Coat Investor. I was gonna say that's the only book that like I remember reading.
But like that just ingrained in my head as like, you can do a lot with your MD. You can write books, you can publish papers, you can back like companies. Some of my friends like got their MDs and didn't even go into clinical practice. They went straight to Silicon Valley and just started consulting in different companies. So like that whole world of just, you can use your MD for a lot of things. So that was a rabbit hole I went down.
You were thinking of this very early.
Yeah, I was thinking about this early. I went to med school with a dual degree. So I went for MD, MHA, Health Administration, and I was already set, like I'm gonna go towards the business side of the hospital. So I was thinking about money.
And what other ideas did you have? So like right now we're gonna get into what you're currently doing, but what were the different avenues that you were considering for yourself? And if Matty as well, avenues you were considering too?
We tried quite a few things. I think before our YouTube channel even got any traction, one of the things we started trying to do was, this was back in the days when online courses were actually still like profitable. This is like before the AI days, but we made a course before like we even got a lot of traction on YouTube. And actually, people don't know this, like we actually made our first $1 online from selling a program, not from getting monetized on YouTube at all. So we were already, we sold courses before that. I think Mike went down the rabbit hole trying to like publish. We did publish a book, we went to, you saw the beach. You saw the beach.
I just wanted to get ahead of these guys. But that's the power of my
beach.
inline 4 PHEV.
Well, speaking of personal finance, we published a personal finance book.
That's true.
No way.
That's our one Amazon book. It's called Personal Finance for Teens.
And how's it done?
It's 5 stars from our audience, probably.
Rated very highly, but we started trying to run some Amazon ads to it and just realized that we didn't really know what we're doing here, and we probably need a book coach of some sort to go further on this, and so we kind of let it go.
The book game is hard. The book game is hard. If you have your own distribution, like a huge audience, like for example, like Ali Abdaal did when he published his book, then it's going to be bestseller easily. But you have to have the distribution network in order to make that successful otherwise.
And even then, it's so challenging to actually make a meaningful profit from books. I feel like a lot of it is just lead gen, top of funnel stuff.
Right.
Book is a lead magnet.
Yeah, like a free ebook or something now, honestly. Or it's a good gift too. It's like, hey, buy someone a book, I guess.
I heard it's surprisingly easy to get top charts in books now, because if you don't have distribution, you can pay for it. People can just help push you to the top.
Oh,
It just plays the game in.
yeah.
But to your other question about how we try to make money, we did that. We try to do. I don't know if Mike did it, but I tried to like get my music into like Epidemic Sound or Artlist and stuff like that. Or like
Well, you're like an accomplished musician. This is not like just
I'm
like
not an
side-
accomplished musician. I was an accomplished hobbyist.
You're a very advanced hobbyist in
Yeah.
terms of music.
Sure.
I was a opposite end of the spectrum in terms of like my musical talents. So I think that very few people could have done that. But that's really cool. You sold a song to
Warner Brothers.
Like that's pretty epic, I would say.
Yeah, I guess so. I wrote it when I was like 10.
Wow, even more impressive to do that when you're 10 years old.
Well,
to
maybe less
write it.
impressive because the age group that I was competing against were also 10-year-olds. You know? So if you're
I don't
good,
think they were setting out to buy from a 10-year-old. So
And you know what's funny is that Matty was pretty resistant to YouTube videos. And so I think I was slightly able to convince him by saying, hey, you can make music
That was-
my YouTube videos.
that was actually one of the main reasons why we started doing YouTube together. Because I was like, yeah, I have some songs. I can throw some behind it.
that's smart. Okay, for other doctors who are, senior med students or residents who are just starting out, like junior residents, interns and such, what do you think are the avenues that they could most easily pursue if they want a side hustle or they want to diversify income streams so they're not just beholden to clinical practice that trade my time for money?
Definitely sell your knowledge, because you've already spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and probably 10 years of your life studying to acquire that knowledge. So why not just use that knowledge to get more mileage out of it? So somehow figure out a way to sell that knowledge that most people in this world don't have. Like if you're a doctor, you're already in the top percentile, right, of society because of the knowledge that you have. So find ways to sell it at scale. So create services, products, books, videos, courses, programs, whatever it is, and package that knowledge so that it can continue to teach other people without needing you to be there all the time.
I think you jumped like 10 steps ahead of probably where I would have started with that question. The first thing I would say is, I would ask is, what is it that you actually want? Like
Money.
there are definitely people who, sure, but like, what way? Like, there are many ways to make money. And if you became a doctor for money, then you became a doctor for the wrong reason. Am I right or am I wrong? Right? Like, what doctor, like, if you wanted to make money, then go work in tech or like go,
Finance.
or work in finance. Like, no one actually goes into medicine for the money because it takes too much time and there's too much of an investment already.
I'd say a lot of people go into medicine for the money and they're just ill-informed.
Yeah, they don't
issue.
They realize halfway in, they're like, I already sunk 8 years into this, and if I want to make top dollar as a neurosurgeon, I need 8 more years of training to get there.
Well, to be fair, it's a pretty stable source of money, but it's not like the most money.
True.
It's stable.
Safe, high status, upper middle class income. There's a lot of benefits there, but
Totally.
so going back to Matty's point, you're saying
Yeah, like I think the first thing I would say is, do you want to quit medicine, or do you want to just make more money while still staying in medicine? Those are two very different approaches.
so let's talk for those who want to stay in medicine but want to add some things to the side.
Gotcha. Regardless of what you decide to do, in that sense, I think that one of the smartest things you can start is a personal brand. Because if you start building a personal brand and growing an audience, then it opens doors for any of those potential things that Mike just talked about. Whether it's going to be a course, whether it's going to be, I don't know, investing, whatever you do, like if you have a brand, that's how you're going to become known, right? And so that's the first place to start. And you don't even know, it's probably the easiest place to start because it also doesn't cost you any money, to post content. It doesn't cost any money to post content, to put your ideas out there, to put yourself on the line. If you want to make money out of medicine, then it's going to require you to put some legwork into something. And this is the easiest step you can try. And, I will say this as well. This is just based on my experience, like scrolling through Instagram and like seeing like a lot of my friends do this as well. If you are a beautiful woman and you have an MD behind your name, it is so freaking easy to blow up. It is so easy. It's crazy.
I mean, if you're an
I'm not
MD,
surprised.
if you're a doctor, I mean, the whole point of
And if you're a beautiful woman, it is so easy. I don't know why. Like, I mean, I do know why. Like, of course, like, oh, she's beautiful and she can talk about like all the girls in my class who like graduated and now they're doing content just for fun. They all blow up so fast, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
So if you're a dude,
it can also work, but you can't rely on your looks. You can't rely on your looks.
get jacked.
Unless you if you get really jacked, sure, but like, it's harder. It's harder. It's definitely, it's probably the same thing in like the gaming community. Like if you don't have to be good at gaming, but if you're a girl, then you're just gonna blow up.
Fair. I mean, it's so rare also in gaming. Like there's so few girls versus guys that are in the game. So
That's because there's a lot of guys in there.
Yeah, but like I'll say this, like I have several friends of mine who are in my med school class. Like they didn't do any content in med school, but now that they're practicing attendings or residents, they're just building their brand on the side. And then now I'm seeing them like they're taking brand deals, they're getting sponsorships, they're going to like they're getting speaking engagements at like other workshops or other med schools or other opportunities. It's like you don't really know if you don't know what you want, how you want to make money yet. Just do that and just let the opportunities come.
I really like that because I think having a personal brand, I think that's how all three of us started. Yeah, having that personal brand, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube, website, newsletter, whatever you want to do, I think social media is the easiest and the most straightforward thing to do right now. I like YouTube. I think all three of us actually like YouTube, but some people want to do Instagram or TikTok or whatever. The amount of opportunities that can come to you later on are so vast, and it's not just side hustle, it's even personal things. I've had investment opportunities, financial opportunities that would not have been available if it wasn't for my
brand. If you didn't have a brand,
KJ, like my Energy Ball brand and my MSI brand, I do like car reviews for fun now, and I was only able to do that because I had a YouTube channel with Medical Insiders that I was able to get connected with certain other YouTubers and learn from them and get involved in certain things that if I was an outsider, I would not be able to do this, which for those who don't know, it's a big hobby of mine. I derive so much joy from it. And I made a lot of friends, right? Like we met through YouTube. There are so many things beyond just making money and the professional side of things that are like very much tangible. But on top of that, even if you never made a single cent from your personal brand, you're gonna learn skills. Yeah, and those skills are gonna compound and benefit you in many other things. Your communication is gonna get better, as an example. Right? The way that you think entrepreneurial is gonna get better. The way that you are going to view opportunities in business and how to think differently about not just trading your time for money as a clinician, but other ways to monetize will all just improve as a natural result.
Yeah, I mean, just at a psychological level, personal brand and being a doctor just go hand in hand. Compare the identity of a doctor to any other career, right? Doctor is one of the most respected and looked up to. So you just pair that with high reputation, status. It's easy to build a personal brand as a doctor if you try.
Yeah, well said. For someone that's bought in, they say, okay, I'm down for a personal brand. Where should they even start?
Pick a platform. Actually, okay, before you pick a platform, I would say this. Pick a medium. There's really like 3 mediums you can pick. Obviously, I think one of them has the highest leverage, and it's the language of the future. But there's writing, there's photo or graphics, and then there's video. Just pick one of those and just get consistent at it and get good at it. Video has the highest leverage because it's the language of the future. If someone can watch something, they're going to be more entertained. They're going to get more value out of it than if they just read something that you did. But a lot of people make incredible progress just by writing their ideas out. Whichever one of those you choose, like the most important piece of this is learning how to download your brain into ideas. I think there's I don't know the exact number or whatever it is, but the majority of people after they finish school in this country, they stop learning. And the reason they stop learning is because they stop thinking. And so creating content is a forcing function for you to just keep learning and putting your ideas out there. And that's going to attract people that you want. And by doing that, you're also going to figure out what it is that I want to do. you know, a lot of people who say they want to start businesses, they're like, oh, I want to make an app. And it's like, well, what kind of app do you want to make? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Well, the way you find out is you make content about stuff as you figure it out, you know? And so it is the forcing function for you to figure out what it is that you want to do. I don't know if I answered your question, but I just kind of...
And can they start broad and then narrow down later, would you say?
Yeah, that's totally fine. Again, it depends on like your intention. I would say that. Like, if you already know for sure that you want to do this specific business or you want to get into this industry, then you can be narrow. But for a lot of people, like if you don't know, you have like literally no clue about what you want to do, then just start spray and pray, you know, just kind of throw stuff out there. That's kind of how Mike and I started, actually. Like our first content on YouTube was pretty much all over the place. He was doing like magnesium supplement reviews.
My first content on YouTube was
Glaucoma.
making videos for my patients.
Yeah. Medical education.
I just found like I was explaining myself too much, like re-explaining the same thing so much. It's like, why don't I just record myself so they can watch it on their own time, and they can also learn. They can rewatch it as many times as they want, so that when they come to me in clinic, I don't have to explain it again because they already know it. And actually it worked. I think the part that worked best was that they felt like I made the video for them. It's like, oh, that's my doctor. He's showing up on camera and he's teaching me. And so they were like enthusiastic to watch it, right? And so that's how they learned really well. Those are my first YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. So blood pressure, diabetes, like this medicine versus that medicine.
Yeah.
So just like, if you just think about your content as an extension of you, that just continues to do what you do even when you're not there. That's how you can start thinking like a business. That's how you have an entrepreneurial mind.
Right.
Because it can do things for you without you being there.
I will say to round off my framework, where I was to say like, you want to first pick a medium, which is writing graphics or video. The second piece of this, which what Mike was saying, is you also have to pick a lane now. If you want to build something on social media, you can either build something that's entertaining or something that helps people educate. So entertainment content or education content. And for most people, the majority of people, it's easier to be useful than it is to be funny. And so just start there. Start teaching people and just start sharing your ideas and start educating or helping people solve problems. It's a lot easier than trying to be funny.
What are some examples that, I mean, you've worked with a lot of doctors who are also content creators, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are some examples of things that can get people's imagination or ideas going?
Yeah, like, I mean, one of our clients, Mike, we have a few clients who are in the medical practice. Mm-hmm. I guess you were one of you were one of them, but like, we have one client who he's an eye surgeon, actually, so he's an ophthalmologist, and his content is about weight loss because he just got really jacked when he was in residency.
You would not expect an ophthalmologist to be specializing in weight loss.
But that's like, it's like he's a doctor and he could do a channel about like, you know, glaucoma and cataract and all that stuff. But he's like, no.
He did. He started that way.
Oh, he did start that way?
Yeah.
That's right. We told him not to do that.
Well, he kind of went all over the place.
Yeah.
He was doing like glaucoma. He was running marathons, so he was doing like marathon training and maffetone content and stuff like that. But I think what really helped was just kind of sitting down and figuring out like what are all the topics that you have authority in speaking to. And I mean, he's jacked, so why not try something with a weight loss?
Lean into your strengths, kind of thing.
Lean into your strengths, yeah. And you have, like, as a doctor, you have a lot of credibility to talk about the health side of fitness. Mm-hmm. So and you also achieved it. So he's a guy who lost 75 pounds. Lost 75 pounds while working as a surgeon. You don't have a lot of time, right? And he was still able to do that. So that in itself was like signal that you should talk about this, because a lot of people aren't able to lose weight because they just simply don't have enough time. Mm-hmm. So figuring out like what have you accomplished and what do you have authority to speak to is like step one.
Yeah. I would say, like, I mean, if you're a doctor, I'm sure this experience happens to every doctor, where the moment you get an MD or you like someone knows you're in med school, you start getting like random phone calls or text messages from friends and family. They're like, hey, I'm like, hey, I haven't talked to you in 5 years. They're like, what's going on? I'm like, what's up? And like, I have this question. And it's like, all right, well, what is it? Yeah, I was like, so I got this rash, or it's like, so there's this lump on my whatever. It's just like, dude, literally, like those questions, just make videos about those things, because people they want to know this stuff, you know. So like, for example, we have this other client that we just signed on. He's a urologist, and he's been practicing as a urologist for like 15, 16 years or something like that, right? Yeah. And he's like one of the top like kidney stone experts in the country. And he was like, yeah, I just want to make videos like about kidney stones. And I'm like, dude, you should make content about kidney stones and men's sexual health. Because there are so many dudes who have this question. If there's a lump on my dick, I'm like, bro, like I'm concerned. I'm looking that up. And I was like, if you're an MD and are breaking down game about that, you're gonna blow up so fast. I'm like, people will come, like that's like, there's white space for smart voices who know these things, and they just need to build a brand to get there.
I like that.
I probably should have. So I don't know if we can say dick on here, but I guess you can say whatever, right?
This is we can say whatever we want. This is an unfiltered podcast. So,
by the way, to the viewers, let me know what you think of this new format. This is the first time we're doing this. I am so grateful that we're doing this with the legends. These YouTube, I mean, they were helping me set this up. You know, they're helping me with the whole cameras and the audio and all that stuff, because if you guys have seen their sets, like impeccable. So I guess what I'm hearing is like play to your strengths, but then also consider what do people actually want.
Yeah. I mean, you spend 10 years learning that stuff. And if that's, I guess for the kidney stone guy, it's like, I'm sure he's, the nuance that he can speak to those specific dick problems are at a higher level than most people would be able to. And it's like, sure you can get this info from like ChatGPT and from Claude and stuff like that, but I think at the end of the day, people wanted to hear it from people, you know?
Yeah, and I guess there's like certain topics that one person may have more or less expertise in based on their training or their personal experience. Mm-hmm. But certain things are also just perhaps more interesting.
Yeah. Right?
So I know longevity has gotten very popular recently. Men's reproductive health, mm-hmm. TRT, that's a big thing in the content that I'm viewing. So I guess looking at trends, looking at what content is doing well, and then taking inspiration from that. But what do they say about the best artists steal or whatever? Like you don't have to create things from scratch. You want to actually take inspiration from multiple people, combine that in a flavor that is unique to yourself, and then you have something that is truly just you. Mm-hmm. Right? People, like when you try to be someone else, I can't be a better Joe Rogan than Joe Rogan can be Joe Rogan. I need to be Kevin Jabal. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? First time out here, and this is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I understand the appeal of Orange County now. Okay, so do you think it's different for someone who's a med student versus a resident in terms of like the kind of content they should be creating or where they should start? And does it even change if you're an attending?
Probably does. I think it does, just because you just know less, As a med student, I probably wouldn't have as hard of opinions about certain, because you have less experience. Okay, it also depends on the problem you're solving though, or like what kind of content you make. But even if you are a medical student, I think it's valuable to start creating a personal brand. This is just something that's going to compound, and the earlier you start, the better you get at the skill. Like you're talking about the skills of content creation. If you refine those skills when you're a med student, and then boom, when you become a resident or attending, your content's just going to immediately have more credibility behind it because of those two letters that you just got all of a sudden.
I've heard this from doctors and dentists who have a big reputation and they're really good at what they do, and they don't want to put out content that looks amateur, right? Because it'll ruin their reputation. So they're like, I have so much money, like I don't have time to waste going through like years of looking bad. I want to look professional and premium right off the bat. And so they just, they go straight for that. I mean, I think that's a good idea. Like that's recommended if you can do that. But if you don't have that kind of money, then as a med student or even a pre-med, then you can spend those years trying to get there with paying with time and just messing up and finding your way there. But yeah, if you're like an attending and you want to come off looking professional from the get-go, then you can just pay your way there.
That's fair. Money versus time, going back to what Matty was saying at the beginning of the convo.
But your reputation does matter. The way you come off on camera looking professional does matter now, especially because anyone can create content with AI. Anyone can create content now. So we do believe that there is a certain threshold, like there's a minimum bar of how good your content needs to look in order for people to actually trust you.
But there's diminishing returns when you get past a certain point.
Yeah, there's a diminishing returns. But if you're like not to a certain point, it can come off like you're not serious, or this guy amateur. Oh, he's probably not going to invest time in this content, so I'm not going to subscribe, not going to come back, because he's just kind of dabbling.
If he's not able to make this look and sound and be good, then how good is the actual substance here? Kind of thinking.
Yeah, I think that matters more now than ever, especially because
the bar keeps getting raised.
The bar, exactly.
The other thing, back when I started in Med School Insiders in 2016, and I kept it anonymous. I went by Jay. I didn't use my real name because. What's going on, guys? Jay from MedSchoolInsiders.com. I didn't want that to be used against me because at the time there were only 3 YouTubers. There was Strive to Fit, Doc Osere, and Jane and JD. And I remember, back then there's much more of a stigma, right? If you're doing this, it was not nearly as widespread as it is today, a decade later. And I think now, as long as you're not doing some very questionable and some negative things that have gotten certain people in some big trouble, which has blown up earlier this year, some stories there.
Yeah.
I think it's very much accepted and very much the norm.
Yeah.
Are certain specialties, maybe surgical subspecialty, is going to be a little bit slower to adapt and may judge a little bit more than other, sure, there might be some variation, but by and large, I think it's so much more accepted today as long as you're doing respectful content that is, again, not doing questionable things.
Right. That's, yeah. Come up, and this is maybe just details for later on for people who do eventually start posting on personal brands. Doctors or people with credentials, I feel are targeted really heavily by brands that want to help pushing their products. And I would be very careful about accepting associations or partnerships with companies or certain things that don't align with your values. Your reputation is important. I remember when we started posting videos about magnesium supplements and what the good and the bad and stuff, we started getting crazy inbound from all of these supplement companies, hey, promote this product, talk about this, blah 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 blah. Remember some of the first videos we made were about it was this Asian glow patch too. There's not really any science behind it, but they're oh, you as just doctors, talk about how taking this patch can make you look less red and whatever. It's
didn't know how many companies existed that did that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of companies that are going to premise too, because when you have Asian glow, you're lacking aldehyde dehydrogenase, and
right.
It's that's a toxic. It's not even about how you look; it's about the effect it has on your. Anyways, that's a little tangent.
Exactly.
These companies are very questionable. Let's just say that.
Right. There's a lot of them that are going to reach out to you because they obviously see, doctor helping them marketing. It's going to be putting some credentials behind it. We're going to sell more products.
It's such a huge win for them, and then the content creator who's new to this, they're oh my god, they're going to pay me X amount of dollars, which is not even that much. But you're just excited to have your first deal, not realizing that now you have such reputational damage because you sold out to this very questionable supplement, whatever company. So especially as an MD, I completely agree. You have to be incredibly mindful and careful as to who you associate with and who you promote.
Right. Yeah, because on the other side of that, there are some pretty cool companies that are doing very evidence-based. They're doing the due diligence with research and building products and services that actually I could get behind. I don't know if we ever worked with. I remember there's some. I feel glucose monitoring things that we explored for a bit.
Levels.
Levels Health, I guess, was one of them.
I worked with Levels for I'm still wearing a CGM. On the left arm.
Yeah, so I think there's some med tech and some devices that are actually useful and helpful, but obviously you just have to do your due diligence because this is your reputation that's on the line.
Yeah, don't want to be a sellout.
Let's talk about the decision to leave medicine. So we're not going to go over my story because people can find that elsewhere on this channel, but tell me about your stories as to how you ended up, and was it one person versus the other, because you both are now working on something together. Tell me how you guys arrived there.
Well, it didn't happen in an afternoon. We toiled over this for months. I also don't think it would happen if it was just one of us. I think it was either both of us or nothing, right?
Yeah, I think the day we did it was the day I got the official thumbs up that I was out of the residency program. When I got the email saying okay, you're officially we're gonna give this spot to somebody else, and you're not blacklisted. Then we got the okay to okay, let's do this. There's no other there's nothing else that would hold us back at this point, And for me, that was very much just it it was a burn your bridges principle, where if we were gonna do it, then
burn your boats.
burn your boats. Sorry, burn your
Two
boats.
very
principle.
different things.
Where like if this was happening, then there has to be no backup plan except for like going all in on this, because otherwise, like, why do it? You know. I think for me, like, the simplest way that I've come to think about this, because I've thought about this a lot, was really just what level of pain was I able to endure. And for me, it was the pain of down the line knowing if I didn't try this, then I would regret it. And that pain of knowing 20 years from now, if I didn't do it, how like frustrating, or how much I would have just hated my life if I didn't try it, you know? And it was something like, maybe I convinced myself back then because I didn't know any better, but I was like, oh, I can always go back to medicine. You know, I have my MD, so maybe you can go back. And then looking back at it now, like, if you spend however many years outside of it and you haven't done any clinical work, it's not as easy as just like, hey, I'm going to apply again.
Yeah.
It's like, you probably got to go back in the hospital, like, learn, like, practice, like, all that stuff. So it'd be like years of like actually getting back into it, versus, you know, back then I was like, oh yeah, I have the degree, I got step 2, I'm good. You know, that's not the reality of things.
If you knew it back then, would you have still made the same decision? Or do you think that added risk would have changed the equation?
I thought about this a lot too, honestly. And like, if I knew everything that would have happened since 2022 to 2026, I think I would not have done it. Honestly, I think I would have done both for longer.
Tell me more.
Technology has gotten pretty crazy. You know, I've been a very self-motivated person, but the fact that if I had known that vibe coding was going to exist just 2 years later, I probably would have just stuck it out, because you can do so much with AI now that exists. And back then, you just, like, it was like, we didn't know, you know, like what you don't know now. But like with the different technology and the tools at your disposal now, and knowing like how much having money as a attending would have just been able to leverage into that stuff, I feel like you can. There are ways to take smaller steps than I did to try entrepreneurship.
Because now it has become easier to try out entrepreneurship without having to take a full leap, because now there's these tools, AI, etc.
Oh, so much
to
easier.
Extend your, you know, put your ideas into the reality.
So much easier, and like it doesn't require what it used to make a video. Like, I guess I don't know if yours were all like overhead when you start off on content. Like, I don't know how long it took you, but some of the videos that I made were like, they took a lot of time. You know, like the scripting, that's the strategy, the ideation process, also like working on products at the same time. Like, you couldn't really do that and have a different job at the same time. But I honestly feel like right now, you know, it's, if you find the right coach, the right person to help you with the technology that's at your disposal, like, you don't have to just do it all or nothing immediately. And it's probably better that you don't do that.
True.
Yeah, we spent 6 figures building a website.
And then half a year later,
and months.
Claude code. No, it's not.
Building, yeah.
But
And then now you can just build a website by just speaking to Claude, and it'll just do it in seconds. The same website. I actually tried rebuilding parts of that website.
We can probably rebuild the whole thing.
Yeah,
in like
just
an afternoon.
in seconds now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I mean, it's not just AI. It's just at different times there will be different technology. So when I was still in medical school, YouTube was just a place for silly videos still. Like, that's where I went to go watch cat videos and comedy. And I think at the time, in college and med school, like even like Mr. Beast and MKBHD, they were not even known, and they were not even big. So sometimes something happened between then and now where the conversation was, wow, you can make money online posting silly videos. That's a thing. Like, that is the equivalent to us saying, wow, you can use AI to build websites now. That's the same conversation that was back then. So I think technology is always going to provide new opportunities. It's just whether do you have the hunger to go for entrepreneurship. That's only something that you can figure out within yourself. But I mean, next year there could be something newer than AI. Who knows? The question still remains: is do you want to do this or not?
Same question to you about, you know, would you do it all over again if you knew what has happened since when you guys left in 2022?
Which part all over again? Like
well,
quitting?
for Mike, you know, Matty was saying that he wouldn't do it again because he could have dabbled in entrepreneurship and still done residency.
Yeah.
for you, does that equation, that balance change?
Yeah, I would still do it again. I mean, I was at a different time in my life where I was engaged and didn't have a house, didn't have kids, and nothing like that. Just it was a point in my life where it's now or never, really. So I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have that point too, where that's the only time that you can make that decision. So that was at that point in my life, that was the moment. And I was lucky enough to have a fiance who supported me in that. Because I don't think if we had started and she changed her mind, then that would have been a different story. So I don't know, but I would have done it again. It was a timing thing. And also, like, at the time, our channel started doing well, and we had some opportunities coming in, and so I think it was very much a timing thing.
And for you guys, it was 2022 when this happened, yes?
Yeah, this is 2022.
So for me, it was 2018, and it's an interesting framing to talk about how technology has changed in the last few years and how that can actually change the equation of whether or not it makes sense to leave. I think for me, I've been so happy on the other side and had this like, oh, of course, like this is the right thing, and like, no, like, what did it take me, like, why was it so hard? And I think it's easy to say that when things work out.
Mm-hmm.
But if things didn't work out, I don't know.
Yeah.
And if things didn't work out, I think what I would actually believe and what my frame would be, just knowing myself, other hard times I've gone through, is that I can do this and I'll get through it and I'll get to the other side. I'm just not there yet. And I don't think that I would have been as, maybe that's delusion, I don't know, because at a certain point, like, there are people that have all the self-belief, but then they don't ever actually achieve what they set out to achieve. But that would definitely be my mindset, which is that, oh, I have a very, let's say at the time that I quit residency, a small stack of proof, but I have some level of proof that I can do X, Y, and Z. I just didn't succeed for X, Y, and Z reasons, and all I need to do is try something else. And now with AI, I'd be going, with all the opportunities right now, I'd be going hard into one of these new technological avenues and relate it still to what I'm very passionate about professionally, which is medical education. That's a really interesting idea, though, and I think that a lot of the viewers should also consider, how does the advent of AI now change the way that you view opportunities for yourself and what it demands of you to pursue those opportunities? Because it can multiply you in very powerful ways.
I will add, though, especially because a lot of people watching this are probably on the medical track or doctors already, is that, like, for you, Kevin, a lot of your life, you've accomplished things, right? And so all of that confidence kind of builds on itself. You're a person who follows through and gets things done, and you'll figure a way to make it happen. And I think not a lot of people have built it. Most of society, just like who are not doctors, probably have not built up that mindset or that grit to believe in yourself. So I think if you were able to become a doctor or get this far in life or make the certain achievements, then you kind of have like a different view on life, that you would take the risk on yourself. You would take the bet on yourself.
That's a great point. Just to get into medical school is something to be very proud of.
It's very hard. Yeah.
And if you had the grit, the tenacity, the ability to plan and execute on a longer term vision to get into med school, then that is something that should build some confidence. And that's a great point you make.
It's a factor. Yeah.
Great point. For those who are current med students and current residents and attendings who want to build a personal brand and want to leverage AI, what can they already do, and what should they be looking forward to in terms of expectations as to how AI is going to keep changing and evolving that process for them? Because I mean, we all use AI already in our content process, right?
Right.
I think to not use AI is putting you behind everyone else.
Yeah.
So what are the ways that they can currently use it, and where do you think it's going to go?
Well, I would say that one thing, which is kind of funny because, your MSI. But one way that I would definitely not use AI right now is to replace your face. Because if you really are, like, let's say an MD, you worked so hard to get there, then building a personal brand around your face is probably an advantage that you shouldn't overlook. You know, so I probably wouldn't start an animation channel or a face.
Which is why on our animation channel we added my face, put your face back into it.
Yeah, like a long time ago it was probably different because like it's less saturated in the market and everything like that. But I think a lot of people, to answer your question, many people right now, if you at least on the YouTube or on Twitter space, they're very focused on using AI for the generative properties. Like, oh, you can create videos now, or you can make images, or you can generate, you know, an avatar or like a voiceover for yourself. When I think really the best opportunity to use AI is all the stuff that you don't actually see in the video. It's all the pre-work. It's like package, like title thumbnails, like help with that, like outlining your stories, like script writing, like building, getting your ideas into like different frameworks, and then you being able to reuse those in your content. Because that'll save you a lot more time, honestly, if you're a busy working doctor, getting your ideas together, than it will like on the post-production side. Because you just pay someone, a video editor, to just put your videos together. But like, you can't pay a video editor to download your brain. And that's the harder part to get content that actually works for you.
I think that AI is basically a force multiplier for whatever you're doing now. So what I mean by that is if you're already creating content or doing a business or producing and creating things, building things, then it's going to allow you to do that much more. On the other hand, if you're not doing those things and you're just consuming and scrolling and getting distracted, then AI is going to do that a lot more to you as well. So it's just going to create a huge divide. Like if you're just consuming versus if you're just if you're creating versus consuming, it's going to push you further and further apart.
What are some ways that people can like tilt themselves or reduce the friction of creation and increase the friction of consumption, so that they incentivize themselves to create more rather than consume more? Like an analogy would be, you know, back when I wanted to play bass more, which I totally dropped. Back when I did care about doing more bass, I would keep the bass, stopping the bass. I'd keep the bass guitar very prominently right by my desk, and it was just ready to go. So now I'm reducing the friction. I don't have to get out of the case and all that stuff. So that's one way that I would try to make the creative process of doing music easier. What are some ways you think people can do that with content and with AI, like you were talking about?
I see. You're dropping the 2-minute rule there, right? Finding the 2-minute version of whatever it is you're trying to do and making that as easy as possible to do. From Atomic Habits.
I like that.
It's interesting. That's an interesting question because I have never struggled with that issue, and I don't think my brother actually did either. Because before we started YouTube, I wasn't a consumer. I don't consume content really. Like I didn't really use social media. I didn't use, TikTok. I guess I still don't use TikTok, and I don't have it.
I still don't use social media.
Elimination really is like one of the best tricks, I guess, if anything. Is if you just don't have the ability to consume certain types of content that are the ones that don't help you, then you'll not do them, right? Like I literally just didn't consume TikTok because I just didn't have an account. I just didn't have it on my phone, you know? And for YouTube, it's like you can just there are certain like browser extensions or plugins that I've downloaded on my computer where it blocks shorts, you know, or blocks like the suggested. And so those things work for a while to just get you started. But the real way that you're gonna like get into that creator flow, I guess you call it, where like you show up regularly, you want to do it, there's only one way. And that is you just have to get some momentum. Like you have to get results from it that makes you feel like this is worth intrinsically, like until there's like intrinsic motivation for like, I want to do this because I can see that the content that I'm making is working. It's either working for my business or it's working for my mental health or it's making me more creative or for whatever reason. Whatever tricks, 2-minute rules you guys want to do until you get to the point of like, now it's actually self-motivating. You have to do whatever it takes to get there. And then once you get to that point, it's like, it's not even a struggle anymore. It's like part of your identity.
When it becomes part of your identity, everything just flows from there.
Yeah.
I think when I think back to what I've actually stuck with, it all comes down to what my why is and what's pulling me forward. So I've tried doing these tricks to get me to play more bass, but I just don't care about being a better bassist. I haven't touched it in years now. It's just not a priority.
Yeah.
But I remember back when I was a sophomore in college, I was studying for the MCAT. StarCraft 2 just came out, and I downloaded it. I bought it, and I was like, let's go. And I never played it because during that summer, I needed to study for the MCAT. That was more important. I wanted to become a gastroenterologist. I wanted to be the best doctor I could be.
Right.
And it wasn't even like I had to fight and resist StarCraft. Like, it just did not even occur, and I never played it. So it's like when you're big, when your why is big enough, when it's pulling you forward, a lot of the desirable behaviors become automatic.
Yeah. Well, the question is, how do you get that? How do you develop that?
I think a lot of introspection, journaling, reflection, deep conversations with friends is a good place to start. Because you need to, it's so easy for us to just be automatic and mindless and live life just on an impulsive level. But when you start peeling back the layers and start understanding what you want, who you are, and what your desires really are beyond just the automatic programming from just monkey see, monkey do, I think you start to understand what you want out of life. And you think back to high school or college when you and your friends felt so similar in terms of like goals and priorities. And then after college, everyone just diverges so much.
Yeah.
And you want to figure out what your path is rather than just run into the default. That's a big way of how I even left residency too, was like, for me, it wasn't even like running away. It was like, damn it, why do I only have 24 hours in a day? I wish I had 40 hours in a day, because like it would be so great to do both of these. But since I can't, which one do I do? And I couldn't get to an answer until I started doing a lot of that work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I also think you touched on something pretty important there, is just surround yourself with the people that are doing what you want to do. I think when I was still working in the hospital, like all my coworkers were not trying to quit. So that was the crowd that I was surrounded by. But also there was a whole other world of creating content online. I was also surrounded by people who were doing that. So if you want to get out of something, surround yourself with the right people. I would say that I forgot where I heard this quote, but like, content basically shrinks the world for you. So your content can be seen, read, or heard, watched by anybody around the world. So it's even if your immediate friend group that you see on a daily basis, if they don't like the same things that you do, you can easily find people anywhere in the globe, anywhere around the world that share the same interests. And so find those rooms online and put yourself there, and surround yourself with those people.
I think that's awesome. I think that's a great place to wrap up. Guys, this is a very valuable video. I think many of the viewers, actually, why don't you guys just tell us what you think with a comment down below? Did you learn something? Have you thought about your future in medicine and how you want to have a side hustle or do content creation, build a personal brand? Has any of that changed from this conversation? Please do let us know with a comment down below. And where can the viewers find you guys?
You guys can find us on all socials at Mike and Matty. And we also just started a new YouTube channel called Increator Company. So at Increator Company, all one word. Last thing I will say to the audience here, just give it a shot for content creation. If you do it for 2 months and you find out that you don't like it, then guess what? You can cross it off the list. You don't need to do it. But if you do like it, then that's a signal that maybe you should try content creation more seriously.
And it might change your life.
Yeah, it might change
It
your life.
will change your life. Might quit your job. On that note, see you guys in the next one.